Hello and welcome, dearest friends of this here internet. My name is Mock, and I am back. Today I will not be painting or drawing. I'm actually going to be customizing a Blockies figure that I recently acquired. Actually, two of them. The Blockies Evangelion Asuka and Rei, which sit right here, completely disassembled. This face I have actually already customized. I added some blush to give the face some more dimension. This is the stock face that Rei comes with. But like I said, they're completely disassembled. So it's all just a bunch of parts and pieces right now. I'm going to be adding some panel lining to the suit and continuing to add blush to the faces to give them some more life. Now, I'm actually going to be watching a couple of videos. Apparently, there's some good anime coming in 2026, so I kind of wanted to hear about that. I heard that Sekiro is getting an anime, which I completely did not expect, seeing as it's a fairly old game at this point. I mean, it's definitely not recent.
Long-awaited sequels are finally clawing their way back. Beloved games are becoming anime. Studios swapping hands, legends returning, and at least one title that sounds completely made up but absolutely isn't. The second half of 2026 is shaping up to be one of the busiest, weirdest, most exciting stretches I've covered in a while. And I've narrowed it down to the 10 I genuinely cannot stop thinking about.
I did watch a trailer for that. What was it? The Ribbon Hero. It looked really interesting. I really liked the style of it, but I can't really understand what the hell is going on. I don't know what it's going to be about or anything. Before I continue listening to that video, I just realized I don't have any background music, and also, oh, I forgot to mention, I'm going to be working on this Frieren that I got a little while back. I really like the sculpt that she has, and I like the details in her clothing and the paint job, but I don't like the fact that the paint job is kind of like one note. It's just black colors and some gradients. So I was thinking about doing the same thing that I did with this swappable face and giving her some blush just so that her face has some more life to it. As you've seen here, I've actually added some lining to her roots, but I did not like the way that it came out. It came out sort of grainy. Just doesn't look all that great. So we'll leave this here for now. What I'm using to paint these, I actually haven't tested it on Frieren yet. I'll do that in a little bit. But what I'm using is these Gundam markers. I can probably zoom out. There we go. And these Gundam markers are really awesome. They're meant for panel lining. So they come in black, gray, like a really light gray, red, pink, yellow, and a sort of iridescent green. And like I said, they're meant for panel lining and also adding small details onto Gundam. I don't really use them for panel lining because the tips are a little too large. Let's see if we can get this. There we go. Ooh, look at me. I figured it out. The tips are a little too large, so they're not great for panel lining. They're more for like detail work that is not too fine and not too small. But what I do is I just empty out the paint and color onto a little bottle cap, and then I work with a really small brush for small details. What I do use for panel lining is the Tamiya panel line accent colors. I don't have a whole lot of them. I wish I had the gray because that would really come in handy, but when I do need a gray, what I do is I dilute my black as much as I can, and I wipe it off as quickly as I can so that the black color doesn't take onto the plastic as harshly as it normally would. I also have the brown, and this one is not a Tamiya, but I have a Mr. Weathering in rust orange. I have, like I said, I have already detailed Asuka's face, giving her some blush in her ears so that they look a little bit more like translucent flesh. I forget what the proper term is for I think it's subsurface scattering, right? When light travels through the flesh, bringing out the more red, the more red tones of blood underneath the skin. So I added some blush on her ears, her face, and her eyelids. It's really not that noticeable on camera. I don't know why, but due to white balancing, I guess automatic white balancing on the camera, a lot of the vibrant pink is kind of lost in translation. But it is fairly noticeable in person. Now, I've also worked on Ray's hands with the panel lining, and I'm honestly not sure if I'm happy about these. The panel line color didn't really turn out as smooth as I wanted it to. It's a little bit more grainy. But I'll keep working at it and figure out a good balance. The one that I did like was the torso that I worked on. I feel like that one turned out a lot more smooth, not as grainy and what would you call it? Like just dusty looking? Crusty looking, I guess is probably a better term. Now, where the hell is my background music? Do I even have any anymore? Because it's been so long since I've streamed. I don't even remember what I used to use for my background music. It's been like months, maybe even a year at this point. I don't know. I don't even know. So how about this? Freaking ads, bro. What is going on with these ads? No one likes ads. Sure, why not? We'll leave this one. And then we also want another one. I just duplicate it. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's cause a whole bunch of audio issues. Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm out here trying to freaking use my mouse on my lap. And it is not working out all that great. Is this right? This is in fact correct. Okay. Got some nice soothing rain sounds in the background. Yeah, that's great. Finally figured that out. And now let's go back and find out
Here's a name I didn't expect
what this anime is about.
to see in 2026. Osamu Tezuka, the man who basically built the foundation of modern anime, is getting a fresh adaptation of his 1953 classic Princess Knight. The Ribbon Hero follows Sapphire, a princess raised
I did not know this was supposed to be based on an Osamu Tezuka work. That's crazy.
to wield a sword in a kingdom that won't let a girl take the throne, and there's something quietly thrilling about a story that questioned gender roles 70 years before it was fashionable, getting a modern coat of paint. It's a Netflix film, not a series, which tells me they're betting on it as a statement piece rather than a casual watch. The studio outline is brand new, so I genuinely don't know what to expect, but the animation does look amazing. Adapting
It really does look great, but I wish it was a little bit closer to the old school Tezuka look. But I mean, it looks great the way it is.
Tezuka is sacred ground. Get it right, and it honors a legend. I'm hopeful, a little protective, and very curious to see how this one turns out.
リボンの騎士参上。
Picture a kid from the coast who plays football on raw instinct, dropped into a Tokyo youth factory where instinct counts for nothing without vision.
Another soccer anime? Interesting.
That was the heart of the first season, and it's why I never expected a sports anime to wreck me the way Aoashi did. It's one of the most realistic sports anime, and it treats the game like a thinking person's chess match with spatial awareness, peripheral reads, and the quiet genius of seeing the whole pitch at once. Season 2 has
That sounds really cool. That does sound very interesting. And I mean, if he's saying it's one of the best out there, I'll take his word for it, whatever. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using some alcohol that I have here. And I'm going to test to see if whatever paint is on this Freerun model might be sensitive to alcohol. So I'll just pick up some alcohol with the brush. It's a really tiny brush. And I'll apply it somewhere that is not too easy to see. Sure. We'll try right under her ears. Some plastics and paint are very sensitive to alcohol. So it's always important to test when you're working with any type of model or figure, how the plastic and how the paint will react to basically every material that you're going to use on it. Because it really sucks to start working on something and then realize that it is getting completely scuffed as you're working on it. I have a Hellboy Sentoys figure, and I was detailing it, adding some panel lining and some paint just to create a weathering effect on the fist. And I realized that the fist was a different plastic from the face. Well, that was self-evident. The plastics are evidently two different types, but what I realized was that the two different types of plastics react very differently to the alcohol and the paint that I was using. So I had to work really, really fast on that to be sure that I wouldn't accidentally make the plastic all ashy and gross and stuff. Right now, it's looking good. I'm not seeing the plastic become ashy or dusty or sort of like crispy, burnt from using the alcohol in it. So I guess I'll just go straight into testing the paint on it. From what I understand, the Tamiya paneling paint is enamel, an enamel paint, and I'm not entirely sure about the Gundam markers, but I think they're also enamel paint. So we'll see how she reacts to that.
The chance to push Ashito deeper into that tactical maze, and honestly, that's really all I want. No melodrama, no cheap rivalries, just a boy slowly learning to translate his gift into something coachable. Sports anime live or die on whether the growth feels earned, and the first season earned every inch. I trust this one to keep its head down and keep delivering. The title alone tells you the tone, and I respect the confidence.
Konami?
はじめまして。私がニアリストンです。
We're firmly in reincarnation fantasy territory here. A noble girl with
Another one? Damn, there's so many, bro. Another ad? Oh my dog. Crap, I pressed the wrong button. Help, I pressed the wrong button. No. What have I done? What have I done? Really? Oh. I'm stupid. I was pressing everything except what I should have been pressing. Okay. Whatever. Another reincarnation anime?
an overpowered past life, the kind of setup that's become its own crowded genre. Normally, that's where I'd check out, but what catches my interest is the word merciless. So many of these stories soften their leads into harmless wish fulfillment. A protagonist with actual edge is rarer than the marketing suggests. If Nia is allowed to be...
Yeah, I absolutely hate it when a story suggests that their entire plot or their lead character is somehow very edgy and very unconventional and very unforgiving, or what would you say, unabashed, and then you watch it and it's just like, bro, this isn't really this isn't as hard as you guys were trying to market it as being. Right now I'm going to use some of the orange very, very lightly to add some shadow. I'm gonna need some more alcohol. Ooh. But I'm gonna be using the orange because basically like a really light brown, and that's what I want. I just want something subtle. I don't want a gray. I don't want a pink, because pink is really more like what would you call it? It's more for like the areas that are full of blood and blushy, and this will just be for the edges. As I was working on this, I realized I can't see anything. And that's not very useful. Alright, I think I worked something out. It's visible on camera and it's easy for me to see. Alright, so I added a little bit of that color. Now I am going to take a paper towel and I'm going to wipe some of it off. This can be done with a paper towel or a cotton swab slash Q-tip. I need a fresh one. I'm running out of Q-tips.
Now get an extra 20% off. For low prices and trusted meds for life with pets, there's Chewy Pharmacy.
And this is just done so that basically all the paint on the surface is taken away. And all that remains is whatever color is sort of caught in the crevices. Now hopefully that is noticeable. This ear versus that ear. This one just added a tiny bit more dimension. I'm gonna do another pass to make sure I bring out the depth a little more. But I really don't want to go too hard and end up making her ears orange. There's just supposed to be a tiny little suggestion of shadow and depth. I'm gonna go through with the Q-tip. Try to be careful so I don't accidentally put any of the orange in her hair. What I really should be doing is putting away my video for a second and taking a look at the screen to see how well this is actually caught on camera. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I still have to figure out a proper positioning, because it is kind of difficult to see. But I think I got it. It's looking good so far. In any case, back to whatever anime is on upcoming this year.
genuinely ruthless, calculating and cold when she needs to be, then this stops being another comfort for isekai adjacent fantasy and becomes something with teeth. The risk is obvious. Lean too hard on power fantasy and it flattens out fast. I'm going in skeptical but curious, ready to be proven wrong. Sometimes the loud titles are loud for a reason. Just taking a second to remind you to be oh so kind and give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Thank you. Few series have ever made me feel as small and as scared as Made in Abyss.
奈落の底に答えはきっとある。奈落の底まであと層一つと半分ってとこか。
見ているものは深くでも天の彼方でもなく、魂の道として選ばれたとても大きな渦の道。
トンクツか。
It dresses itself in adorable character designs and then drags you into one of the most pitiless worlds in all of anime. A descent where every layer downward costs more than the last. So when I heard a new installment was coming, my reaction was equal parts joy and genuine dread. That's the magic of this franchise.
Yo, what
it
the frick did I
weaponizes
do?
beauty.
Did I really just... I don't know what I did. Nah. What have I done? Huh? You can't be okay. Now it's back. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Screw you. For some reason, my camera went out, and then it just suddenly was like, okay, I'm back. It would seem that the stream went out. You've got to be kidding me. The stream went out. And our connection became very, very unstable. But I guess we're back? I hope so. What should I do to test? How can I test this real quick? Yeah, we'll open up a new tab. We'll go to YouTube. We'll just search ourselves up, right? And we'll stop in. Or stop by? I don't fucking know. Okay. Drop in? Yeah. That's what I meant. So I guess I'll just go straight into testing the paint on it. From what I understand, the Tamiya pen
Cold when she needs to be, then this stops being another comfort for isekai.
You can't be okay. Now it's back. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So far, so good. I think there's not too many problems, right? So far, so good. I think there's not too many problems, right? Yeah, looking stable. So far, so good. I think. And now it's starting to loop. Okay. Whoops. So far, so good. I think. What's going on? I hope we're still alive. Oh no. I think. What's going on? I hope we're still alive. I think it's working. It's having troubles, but it's working. All right, so I'm gonna just keep going. Screw it. It's more of a test stream anyway. Doing some new stuff I haven't done before.
The animation is gorgeous, precisely so the horror lands harder. I have no idea how deep this entry takes us, but deeper in this series has always meant darker, stranger, more irreversible.
I've always been scared of watching Made in Abyss because the fact that it is so dark and it is, everyone says it's like super insane. So I've always kind of been a bit intimidated by the series. I imagine a lot of people would recommend checking it out. But I don't know. Just looks pretty insane.
I'll be watching through my fingers, the way you do with something you love and fear in equal measure. Few shows earn that kind of grip on me. This one always has.
本当に素晴らしい冒険でしたね。
進んで行こう。それじゃあ行ってきます。
So I have this Q-tip just completely packed with some of the Gundam Marker pink pigment in it. And all I do is add a little bit of alcohol to it. And then I try to get as much of that excess pink onto the model. I forgot there's still orange on this brush.
These are website names that are still somehow available. So for Australian non-believers, Australia isn't real.
Get some alcohol.
Australia isn't real.net. Or
Clean out my brush a little bit.
if you're a fan of brand fusions, Microsoft Apple.com, Target Walmart Costco.com, and KFC Pizza Hut Taco Bell.com are all available on Wix.com/domains. Billionairesonly.com is actually available even for a non-billionaire, and Trillionairesmingle.com is available for a lucky buyer, although I think you'd only be able to have one person on that dating site. If your name is Jack Smith, like thousands in the United States, jacksmith.info is still available.
How do I know?
「闇すらも及ばぬ深淵へとその身を捧げ挑む者たちにアビスは全てを与えるという」
It took the franchise years to get here, and I'd nearly given up hope of seeing Tanya march back onto the screen.
諸君は今や抗うか死ぬかを自由に選べるのである。ようこそ前線へ。戦争の時間だ。
For the uninitiated, a ruthless salaryman is reincarnated as a small girl in a war-torn alternate Europe cursed by a god he refuses to believe in, climbing the military ladder through sheer spiteful competence. It's bleak, it's sharp, and it has one of the most magnetic leads in the medium. A second season has the chance to deepen the political machinery that made the first so compelling. The strategy, the cynicism, the way it never lets you fully root for anyone. My only worry is the long gap. Momentum does matter, and audiences have memories, but if the writing keeps its bite, I'll forgive the wait instantly. Tanya's return alone justifies the whole season for me. I have a recap coming soon on my second channel, ViniTube Kai, so if you want one, make sure you subscribe to that channel.
Yet another anime
Some
that I have not watched, but I know a lot of people really, really enjoy. So I would consider it. I'm just, I don't know. It just doesn't really catch my attention that much right now. But this next one, boy, I really want to watch this next one.
properties carry the weight of legend, and Ghost in the Shell is one of them.
心理学者に言わせれば情報過密時代における心の空洞化だとか。
女性の名前は草薙素子、公安9課の対テロ要員との情報が入っています。
This is the franchise that shaped how an entire generation thinks about identity, consciousness, and what it means to be human inside a machine. So, a fresh take in 2026 makes me nervous in the best possible way. Nervous because the bar is impossibly high, the originals are landmarks, they're not just entries. But also thrilled, because the questions this series asks have only grown sharper as our world inches closer to its premise. If the new production has anything original to say about a world drowning in AI and surveillance, it could feel less like nostalgia and more like the prophecy catching up. I don't need to to replace the classics, I just need to understand why they mattered. Now that's a tall order. Mao Mao is, without exaggeration, one of my favourite protagonists in recent memory.
ごめんマオマオ愛してるとごめん
何と呼ぶのが正解かわからない。
覚悟を決める時が来たようだ。
虫は冬を越せない。ただ子を残すのみ。酒水はもう戻ってこない。
And I'll be honest, for some odd reason, I avoided this anime, but I have been proven wrong. A poison-obsessed apothecary navigating imperial court politics with a curiosity that borders on danger. You know what makes this series sing? How it fuses cozy mystery of the week structure with this slow-burning, deliciously understated romance, all wrapped in lush period detail. The second season expanded the scope without losing its intimacy, which is a tightrope most shows fall off of. Season 3 has room to escalate the central mysteries and finally let some long-simmering relationships breathe. I love that this franchise trusts its audience to sit with subtlety, to enjoy a clever deduction as much as a dramatic reveal. It's comfort and intrigue in the same breath. Of everything on this list, this is the one that I'm going to be settling in with the most contentment. Tea in hand, ready to be delighted.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Apothecary Diaries. I thought it was very, very interesting and fun.
行かなければ。
5枚目には悪魔が住む。
今ここで限界を超える。
What kind of ad crap is this? Black
Studio
Clover.
Period's back, and Black Clover's new season, well, really
I'm just really not interested in it at all.
Season 5, if you're being honest, premieres in 2026. The Jump Festa trailer looks clean. We're getting Devil Union training, Nact's full power, Yuno coming back stronger, and the Magic Knights launching their counterattack to save Yami and William. Everything Tabata-san spent the whole manga building toward. Hot take, Black Clover is one of the most underrated battle shonen of the 2010s, and people slept on it because the early animation was rough. This season is the redemption arc. I can't wait for that intro to drop and ruin our weekends again.
一緒に闇団長を迎えに行こう。限界を超えて。楽しんでおくれ。せがれどまだプロのせがれよ。狼。
An anime built on the bones of Sekiro is the kind of news that makes me sit up straight.
この国に明日があるとは限らぬぞ。
我らが争わぬ道はないのでしょうか。
悠長として守れ。
頼んだぞ狼。
石腕の狼赤炉よ。貴様何故戦う。
死を厭わぬのですか。
なすべきことをなす。
From Software's world is all brutal swordsplay, shinobi resolve, and a
Definitely looks very interesting. I just might watch it. I tried playing the game. Unfortunately, I'm just not that great. So I didn't get very far. But it was a very, very fun game. I don't know why, but this one is really not going quite as smoothly as it was when I detailed Asuka's face. It might be the different type of plastic, or maybe I'm just messing up somehow. I don't really know. I was able to do like very gradiented, very subtle work on her face, but with Frieren, I'm having trouble doing that. The ink just kind of wants to settle down and pool in very concentrated sort of blotches. And I was not careful enough. Now I've got pink on her hair. Gosh dang it. Thankfully it came out fairly easily. And I did not ruin the color. Good. Back to the video.
Haunted, blood-soaked corner of Sengoku-era Japan, material practically begging for animation. The big question hanging over is its tone. Get it right, and the punishing, deliberate rhythm of the game translates into some of the most kinetic action of the year. But get it wrong, and it becomes a generic samurai show wearing a familiar name. Adaptations of beloved games are a minefield. For every triumph, there's always a cautionary tale, isn't there? But the raw ingredients here are extraordinary, and if the studio respects the source's atmosphere of solitude and obsession, then this one really could be something special. I'm bracing myself either way. Hesitation is defeat in Sekiro, and I'm choosing to be all in. And then there's Bleach, which clawed its way back from the dead and reminded everyone why it ruled the 2000s.
あんたは俺が切る。
黒崎くんの心はきっと
そんだなイチゴ。それは世界を切ると同義だぞ。絶望してくれるなイチゴ。絶望がなんだって。よく知ってるぜ。今まで何度も乗り越えてきたんだからな。バッカイ。
The Thousand Year Blood War arc has been a relentless showcase of gorgeous animation, escalating stakes, and a studio clearly out for blood after years of dormancy. The next core pushes deeper into the war's most punishing stretch, the part of the manga where loyalties shatter and the cost of every battle becomes painfully real. I came back to Bleach expecting nostalgia and got something genuinely thrilled instead, and that turnaround still actually amazes me. Watching a franchise I'd written off at the top of its game is one of the rare joys this hobby offers. I've already got a recap video out and I'll link it in the description. If you want to scream your lungs out on number one, now is your chance.
That is the best song ever, honestly.
厄介なのが来たな。我を出し抜けるなどと思うな。今まで何度も乗り越えてきたんだからな。バッカイ。
So consider this my closing note for the year. The legends aren't done yet. The back half of 2026 is going to be a ride, and I can't wait.
Well, I guess that was the end of the video. Oh, what is this? Now I'm going to listen to some Based Camp. Apparently, they have an episode on... well, the PDFs. Let's find out what that's about.
Malcolm, I'm excited to be with you today because today we're going to talk about how maybe Europeans are the only people who aren't kind of into, if you know what I mean, really young people, and that possibly our colonizing, imposing of older ages of marriage onto all the other peoples of the world could be contributing to demographic collapse because apparently we're the weirdos in the room. We're the outlier.
Okay, I need to go over some stats. So this rabbit hole started with me being like, our Japan, because if you look at Japanese not safe for work art, it has an unusually high rate of phenotypically young looking women. if you catch my drift. And I started to think, I was like, could there be a genetic reason for this, right? Like, when did Japanese people get married historically? When would have been their first sexual encounter historically? And as I went through that, I was like, oh, wait a second. Everyone but Europeans got married at these super young ages at a historic level. And now this makes sense why you have these super young age marriages in Africa, in Middle Easterners, right? Like we keep seeing this, oh, Aisha, 6, 9, etc., right? Like this would be weird for European. What may surprise you is that in Europe, even in the Middle Ages, it was very common for women to not get married until their mid-20s.
And we're going to go into that.
Which is very rare for any other culture. But hold on, it gets weirder before we go. Because I want to get all the fun stuff out of the way. It turns out that Europeans, remember how I've always said that Northern Europeans have weirdly high fertility rates compared to every other group on Earth? Well, Northern Europeans are also genetically unique among all of the ethnicities on Earth, and that we have significantly, like multiple years longer fertility windows.
And we're going to go into that too. Yeah, which people should know about.
Much later. So when we started to tell other people around the world, you can't start being sexual, with
like the appropriate time to start is in your
mid-20s.
Yeah.
We were actually sniping more than half of many of these groups' reproductive windows. And now we're seeing fertility rates crash around Latin America. We're seeing fertility rates crash in East Asia. We're seeing them crash in India. And it could partially be a result of this, but go into the data.
Yeah, well, first, here's some of the breadcrumbs that kind of got me to this episode that I think are really fun. Ayla just released a Substack post called The Hotness Curve, How Age Changes a Woman's Appeal. And she used photos of women at various ages. Some were AI generated, some were real, including real photos of her throughout her life and her friends. She asked questions like, casual sex. A 200-year-old vampire shows up in your window at night. She wants a one-night stand. There are no consequences and nobody will know. Do you say yes? And then she says this paired with various photos of women, right? So the resulting graph is a little concerning, I guess. You can see it here on WhatsApp. What you'll find, and I'll just read from Ayla's post here. Ayla found that sexual interest climbs very fast and generally hits a crescendo around women who appear to be 24 years old or 28 years old for older men. But 15, and I'm quoting from her Substack article, 15% of men said yes, they would have casual sex with a vampire in the body of an 11-year-old. This rose to a third of men for the body of a 13-year-old, and half of men agreeing to the body of a 15-year-old. By 18, we're at roughly 70%, and at the time a 24-year-old is hypothetically entering your window, 90% of them were down.
Wait, hold on. So the midpoint for men is 15?
Yeah, basically. But I mean, I was just shocked that at the age of 11, 15% of men were like, yeah.
Well, this is actually really fascinating because if this is the actual midpoint of, attractiveness for men, the way in society that we treat this, right? Like, oh, you're aroused by something that looks like that. You must be like a wildly deviant individual.
Yeah, you must be a monster. You must need to be arrested, etc.
Literally 50% of men. 15 is astonishingly young.
But for 11 is 15.
I'm not going with the 25% of men. I'm going with the average man. The average man.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why it's important to make this known to people is because if a guy gets into their head that there's some absolutely monstrous deviant within one category, then they can begin to engage in they begin to excuse other types of monstrously deviant behavior because they're like, well, that's what I am. That's how
I'm a monster. Myself. Who cares if I drown a puppy, etc.
Yeah, I'm just a bad guy because whereas I think that you can say, even if 15 is the average age at which a male may start finding a female form attractive, that one, Europeans, it's likely going to be later, so this is likely held down by non-Europeans to some extent. But two, it's normal, but you don't act on it, right? Like there's a big difference between something being normal and something being a mandate for you to act on. If I can give you, it is normal for me to be aroused by a random woman who walks by. It is bad for me to hold her down and have sex with her simply because I was aroused that she walked by.
For our culture, at least, yes.
No, I'm just saying the way that we have in our society drawn these very, very thin lines when it comes to this one category of arousal, I think is hugely deleterious and leads to a lot more PDA behavior than we would otherwise see if we categorized it more the way that is like, yeah, you can find a woman who's married to another guy arousing, don't sleep with her. That's morally negative and has morally negative externalities for society, right? But anyway, continue.
Right. Just a little side too about the wall, because that's a fun thing to see what her findings indicated. She wrote, one interesting thing to note is that the drop off in affability. For women, what we might call the wall happens for women in their mid-30s, just as predicted, but only in the eyes of men under the age of 25. For older men, we find the wall occurs in a woman's early 40s. Older men assign equivalent, yes, I'd have sex with her ratings to an 18-year-old as they did to a woman in her early 50s. Basically, the spread of people who would be interested in both dating or having sex with women at older ages was astonishing per this research. You should go check out the actual post. I'm linking to it in my show notes as I linked to everything else. I was just shocked by the range of interest in women. I guess older women are better off now than they have been in the past, maybe, or they always have been. But also, you should play her Guess Their Age game. She vibe coded it. It's super fun. And you can probably beat me because I could only get better than 67% of players. I apparently cannot tell people's age,
7.
which is probably good. Also, our friend Bruno wrote to us about the e-girl phenomenon. He wrote, why does a certain e-girl or internet girl face seem to resonate so consistently with online audiences across different eras? Highly recognizable women in online subcultures seem to converge around a similar look. Why does that look perform so well with netizens? Early internet figures like Boxy, later YouTube personalities like Shoe on Head, cosplay, and streamer adjacent figures. And then more recent cases like Belle Delphine and the current wave of TikTok cosplayer and Twitter X e-girl aesthetics. The most interesting question is why a particular facial and stylistic grammar keeps recurring. Large expressive eyes, youthful proportions, softer rounded features, dark hair or bangs, a slightly anime coded presentation, and a mix of cuteness, irony, awkwardness, and sexual ambiguity. And when I talked about this with Malcolm, when we got the email, you're like,
because they look like children. Like Bella Delphine looks like a 15-year-old. She could easily pass as a 15 in her the height of her fame. Boxy, I think, was literally 15 at the height of her fame. I realize one of the reasons why other people don't realize this is because they think 15-year-old girls look like lollies, and they don't. People think 15-year-old girls look way younger than they actually do. So here, I'm going to put the pictures of the celebrities we're talking about next to a bunch of pictures of actual, real 15-year-old human girls. And when you see this, you'll be like, oh, 15-year-old girls look a lot older than I expected. And it's like, yeah, they do. And that's why this is so scary. And note, this isn't me being selective. This is me just choosing all the top images when you look up 15-year-old girl. And I'd go so far, now that I'm looking at the images side by side, to say that these e-celebs that we're talking about look slightly younger than your average 15-year-old girl. Shoe on Head, I don't think fits into this category. She was never really a thirst trap influencer. But if you look at the various thirst trap influencers, Creepy Chan fell into this as well. Like they all have the phenotypical features that make them look different than Simone. And I'll put images on screen here so you guys can see. I'm not joking about this. They just look very young. But either because it was considered okay to thirst after them on the internet during that period, or because they technically weren't actually 15, like Vampire Girls or whatever, everyone was like, this is fine. Now, again, I actually think it's really, really bad to stereotype. Like in Australia, I don't know if you know this, but in Australia, you actually can't have pornography where women have too small of breasts, because they say that if the women's breasts, even if they're a totally normal above age woman, it is illegal for them to participate in pornography.
So they'll like pull up a thing and be like insufficiently busty, and then
because they say it makes them look too young, right?
Like, so do erotic actresses have to get boob jobs? Like what happens if you're?
By the way, have you seen that immensely creepy show about the girl who looks like a 12-year-old and who's dating?
No.
You need to Google this and just watch a clip from this, because I'll put it here before we go further, because I need to get your thoughts on the ethics of this.
It's not worth it. I would just completely ignore them. I tried to let just roll off my shoulders.
Hearing Thomas's views shows me a new perspective and allows me to understand a new perspective.
Are they both little people? She is tiny. She's like she's the size of a middle schooler. Is this a dating show on TLC?
He grew up with this mentality, just pick yourself and get up and do it. And I have a lot of social trauma. So I think he's definitely a more go-getter, less worried about what people think, and I know what people think.
I love how we're like, Japan, the Japanese, so gross. They're like, oh, she's a 300-year-old vampire, so it's okay. Meanwhile, middle-aged moms watching TLC.
And then fertility and where we go from there, I think the best option for you would be to get you established with an OBGYN who can kind of dig into safely carrying a child, and would you be able to do it to term and all of that.
What?
Look up a clip of this show.
Oh no, she looks like a child. No. Oh, TLC, of course. Oh, great. Of course. It's TLC. Oh, no. Okay, I've seen enough.
Yeah, so I'm in this range where I'm like, if you look like 15 in the way that like Bella Delphine does or whatever, right? You know,
yeah.
I'm like, whatever with that. I'm like, I get it, you know, whatever. With this girl in this show, I'm like, even if she's technically a 300-year-old vampire, like we need to have a conversation about this, because she's like 27, by the way, Simone.
Okay.
It's a very rare disorder that caused.
No, I know. TLC is it's the dwarves and it's the
But then should she never be able to have hold on, I'm actually thinking through this. Should she never be able to have a sex life? Because
she should. Man, the whole point you make in The Pragmatist Guide to Sexuality is if you have a thing that some people's kink or arousal pathway, whatever, like if, for example, you are obese, you should go after chubby chasers who are way out of your league.
So you're basically saying that's one PDA file off the street?
She could get a very high value, because like she's not a supermodel looks-wise, right? She may not be like the world's smartest person. She may not be a billionaire. But she could probably find a man who's way out of her league on one of those measures or multiple, because he's super in to...
Yeah, I mean, like, the reason why it's bad, and we've pointed this out before, it's not due to consent. This isn't why underage stuff is bad. It's because it has negative developmental effects. The reason I point out it's not due to consent is nobody cares when two, like, mentally disabled people have sex. Nobody cares when a super elderly person has sex. But, like, when we're...
I actually don't know. Is that alright? Is that fine? Is that okay? Should mentally disabled people be doing this? I don't know, man. That sounds so strange.
We're talking about a 15, 16-year-old who's almost certainly smarter than most people in their like late 90s or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's because of the negative developmental effects. But I think one of the things that I'm realizing is, are those negative developmental effects the same for non-Europeans as they are for Europeans?
That's a really good question. I did not think to look at birth complications or pregnancy complications for non-European teenagers.
And by the way, the next one I'm talking, make sure you look up the average age for Jews historically, because I want to see if they went with the European standard or they went with the non-European standard. But like, this is one of these interesting fields to talk about, or I find it to be interesting to talk about, because there is so much just like reflective and reactive signaling around this stuff, where individuals attempt to show that they are like just to shout at someone, to clown on someone, to yell at someone, to, you know, whatever. And it's super unproductive, because a lot of the fight is not where it should be. Like, consider the leftist activists, right, who constantly badger like anime companies, but do nothing about the immigrant communities where this is normalized, right? Like we've pointed out countless times, the religious court in Pakistan made a hearing, this is the primary religious court of the country, that it was Islamophobic to raise the age of marriage from, I think, 9. Like, how dare you? But this is normal in those countries, and if you actually cared about this, that's what you would be targeting, and not anime that actually... Now, we can argue whether it leads to radicalizing people in this direction. Even if it does lead to radicalizing people in this direction, the number...
From what I remember, I think there was a study on that, no? And it essentially, from what I understand on the studies of fiction and their influence on people's psyche, people who engage with fiction of various types, do not go on to then allow that to influence their day-to-day life. For example, with video games, violent video games, people who play violent video games do not become violent people.
Of like standard Westerners who ever get radicalized in this direction is so dwarfed by where this is happening outside of the West. But then you have to ask, is it even bad where it's happening outside the West? Because maybe they're like genetically built for. But anyway, what'd you find about the Jews?
So per European standards of when marriages took place, it looks like pre-1800s, which is what I looked at for the other groups, many Jewish communities married what was considered way younger than most of them, like in their teens. So that is interesting. They were like the weird outliers in Europe at the time, I guess, probably among other groups.
Now, hold on. Does this explain the Epstein networks?
Oh no, stop. No, Malcolm. We're gonna skate right over that.
Yeah, we're gonna
you want to
skate
say,
right
just
over
save
this
it for the
point.
comments. All right, you can find whatever code word you want to use for Epstein this time. Let's just talk about it there. I'll start by, this is actually something another friend of ours told me, or like mentioned in a text conversation, and I just had no idea. And she's like, well, you understand that non-European women have earlier onset menopause, like their fertility window is way shorter, and people should really talk to them about this. And I had no idea. And then I look it up, and the estimated global mean age of menopause is only 48.8. But for Europe, it's around 50.5 years. In Asia, it's 48.8. In Africa, it's 48.4 years. In Latin America, it's 47.2 years. And in the Middle East, it's 47.4 years. 47, like that, 47 versus 50 is very significant. I had no idea. And also, it's crazy that we're not telling people this. But when you look at this in comparison to the average ages of marriage pre-1800 across different parts of the world, it kind of makes sense that fertility windows got pushed back for Europeans.
Europeans have had a strong genetic pressure for a very long time for higher fertility windows.
Because of norms around marriage. In England, pre-1800, the typical marriage, or we'll say average female age at first marriage. Keep in mind, this is average, right? This is not, you know, there are lots of younger than this, but average was 22 to 26, which is kind of what modern society has rested at now, right? And maybe that's because of colonialism and the influence of European and especially English culture, but it's 22 to 26 pre-1800s. In Western and Northern Europe, it was a little bit lower. It was 20 to 25. And in China, by comparison, it's 14 to 18, average.
Oof.
India, 12 to 16. Japan, 17 to 19. Korea, 16 to 18. I checked about like Aztec, 14 to 17. Maya, 16 to 19. And then in sub-Saharan Africa, 15 to 18. So when you look at these earlier onsets of menopause, they kind of track pretty well to historical marriage patterns. And
So essentially, some people were just kind of made to breed younger due to the different ways in which their bodies developed and evolved. That is pretty crazy.
I think that kind of helps to make sense. Now, when you look also at, one thing I decided to look at, and I'm sending you a graph of this so that you can look at it more visually, but I looked at the ages of consent today in the highest population countries, though the global map that I sent to you from Our Data is Beautiful is also just everything. But the age of consent in Pakistan, do you know what it is?
What's the age of consent in Pakistan?
It's 18. Oof. I know. I was like, wait a second. How? Why? And no, like actually, so there's this Child Marriage Act of 1929 that originally set the minimum age at 18 for males and 16 for females.
I, by the way, take it back. Younger Shoe on Head definitely looks 15.
Okay,
all of these girls look 15.
I think she still looks super young, and I think she said she was in her mid-30s. So I think she also just has like a phenotypically young-looking face.
Yeah, she has a phenotypic. That's what it is. That's guys are like, there's a certain type of girl that I'm really into, and it's like, I hate to tell you this, brother, but that look is the look of a teenager.
Yeah. Long story short, with Pakistan, basically, they have a lot of different laws and efforts. There's the 1929 Child Marriage Restraint Act. There's the Child Marriage Restraint Act in a different province. They're like in Sindh province, in Islamabad capital territory, in Balochistan, in Punjab, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
India has a super old first age of marriage.
Yeah, no, they're very like they have. What's weird is when I was like, wait, but how long has it been 18? Because we keep hearing about these really young marriages in Pakistan. Like all these laws show up, and then I dug a little deeper, and it's kind of like, well, they have all these laws because people keep marrying kids super young. Like the laws are there, so they're like, no, stop, but like actually stop. Can we? They're like super for real this time, guys. Like let's.
But I mean, throughout Africa is a place where it's Africa and Indonesia where you see the 11 average age.
Yeah, but I mean, still, UNICEF, for example, reports that around 18% of women aged 20 to 24 in Pakistan were married before 18. So it's but you're right. Pakistan's not the worst. Anyway, that surprised me. Other ages of consent. So India is also high at 18. Indonesia, 18. Nigeria, 18. Japan, 18. Ethiopia, Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo, Turkey. The United States is actually a little different. Some of our states go as low as 16, I think. In the Philippines, it's 16 in general. Iran, 15 to 18. Thailand, 15 to 18. France, 15. Germany, 14 to 16. So go Germans. But I kind of think like it's so normatively weird for Germans. They'd be like, well, but of course we don't need the rule because we would never. We're German. In Bangladesh, 14 to 16. Italy, 14 to 16. Mexico, it's 12 to 18. It varies by the state. Russia, 16. Vietnam is 16. United Kingdom, 16 to 18. It varies by the state. Russia's.
Damn, bro. Glad I don't live in Mexico.
16, Vietnam is 16, United Kingdom 16, South Africa 16, South Korea 16, China and Brazil are both 14. So China's still super low, which is wild. But you had mentioned this to me and I thought it was insane that Japan only criminalized possession of, we'll call it CSAM, involving real children in 2014. Though it should be noted that the law explicitly excludes manga, anime, and computer-generated imagery. And I just love Japan for being so Japan on that front.
So Japan.
Yeah, they're like, but not the manga. I mean, not the manga.
That would outlaw like more than half of anime, right?
Yeah, they would like destroy the entire anime industry if they were to like actually follow through with that. So I totally understand.
But again, we need to in America understand that Japanese males and females are genetically and sociologically different from us.
Yeah, historically they married a lot younger. Their fertility window ends sooner. They need to marry younger. And now that they live in a culture where marriage is severely delayed, they're going to see a bigger hit from that.
Yeah. I mean, I personally will be encouraging my kids to marry starting probably around 16 to 17. I think that's when you start dating and learning to date with the intention of eventually marrying.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on them with that because Tavian just picked up at More Birth's report that's been sitting around our house.
Yeah.
And he started leafing through it, and he was looking at this graph of average age of first marriage over time. And I asked him how old he wanted to be when he got married, and at first he's like, 40, and I'm like, really? And he's like, okay, maybe when I'm like a teenager. And I'm like, oh, okay, so like 18. He's like, no, like 100. So I don't know where he's at. We need to be like, this is the right age. After this, you gotta worry.
We used to get this. Princesses, like Disney princesses, actually look this up. Look up the ages of various famous Disney princesses. But they're often quite young for when they got married. And I think that normalizing not the Hallmark wedding of the divorcee or whatever, but I'm gonna get married when what are the ages of the Disney princesses?
Snow White is 14.
Yeah. That's what
Jasmine is 15. Aurora is 16. Ariel is 16. Mulan is 16. Hey, legal in the UK. Merida from Brave, 16.
Legal in the UK.
Moana, 16. Belle, usually treated as 17 years old, though sources vary between 17 and 18.
Now,
Pocahontas, 18. Rapunzel, 18.
Now look up the ages of their partners in each of those movies.
Okay, I mean, obviously because the men are just so unimportant in most of these, especially early movies, it's hard to tell, but so Snow White, 14. Prince Florian, 18 to 31. So
18 to
31.
That's a range.
Let's see, so the half plus 7 rule, that's 7 plus half, 7.
No, keep going, just go.
Okay, yeah, anyway, the half plus 7 rules, okay. Cinderella's 19. Prince Charming, 21, appropriate. That's a 2-year age gap. Aurora and Prince Philip in Sleeping Beauty, 16 versus 20, 4-year age gap. Ariel and Prince Eric, she's 16, he's 18 to 19. Where's the biggest gap here? The biggest gap, it's Rapunzel and Flynn.
What?
Because she's 18 and he's 26, that's 8 years.
But she's older, so it's okay.
26.
What about the Muslim one? What about the
well, come on, the street urchin, that's plus 3 years. She's 15 and he's 18.
That's
The Pocahontas and John Smith is less clear. It is between 2 or 9 years. So that is unclear.
Getting women excited about marrying in their teens, I think, is where we need to be as a culture again.
Oh boy, yeah. But I guess we have to get over this European puritanical view shaming teen marriage. And you can actually really see it in where various countries instituted CSAM laws, basically being like, young looking people, no good in images, stop. All the first countries to start this are Western. All the last countries to institute these laws, not Western. So we start with 1973 in Germany, 1978 in the USA and UK, 1980s in Australia, 83 for Canada, 1990 for Brazil. That's our first non-super Western country, even though Brazil is pretty Western. 1996, Russia, 1997, China, 2000, India, 2003, Nigeria, 2007, South Africa.
Wait, what is this? What is this when?
This is when CSAM laws were instituted. When it wasn't okay to create or possess the stuff that you're not allowed to create or possess, the bad the images.
Very recently in most of these non-Western countries.
Right, yeah. And Japan's the worst, of course. With
the case there.
Really dragging their feet, but not for anime and manga. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. Manga. God, what was that anime where like the succubus looks like she's a child?
No, Naomi or whatever I told you about. Where she like actually looks like a child, and she can only survive by drinking
things.
And
oh my God.
The whole thing's supposed to be. Oh, hold on. Remember I said it's a show about being a father, right? Like that's.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that the main character is actually literally her father, but he's 14.
This is worse than that anime who like the guy's hand was just a girl one morning. Remember that? Just like
that's a girl.
Japan's the best. Who thinks of these things?
When I was on Leaflet streams, there was a manga where a guy's willy became a girl, right? Like that's like the whole manga. People said it was funny. I don't know. I
mean, it would be. I think. Yeah. Yeah, they just have to like find the weirdest people in the country, and they're like, you're hired. Write a manga. I like it. Anyway, this has changed. I mean, I've been having a conversation with someone, and we've talked about things like teen marriage and just the stigma that we have around, for example, even getting married in college. You know, people see it as really weird. And I think a lot of people, even who are very pronatalist, who understand that it's an issue that people are putting off marriage, would be kind of weirded out by the idea of their son or daughter getting married right out of high school or in college.
I, by the way, would not. And when our kids start dating and when I start trying to do arranged marriage for them, I think the appropriate age for a kid to get married is perfect age is probably 19 or 20.
Yeah, and at that age too, the young couple can, if they need to, like while they're still getting their footing, live at our house, you know, like live with the parents if they help out and everything. Like it's such an easier way to start your life, build savings, you know, while you're young enough
to start having kids at that age. We just take care of the kids.
Exactly. It's the smartest thing. And guess what? That is actually what my parents did. When my parents came back from Japan with me, for a while they lived at my dad's parents' house. And this is a very normative thing. Like the reason we had baby showers wasn't because people wanted some bougie party that cost $10,000. It was because this was a young 20-year-old couple right out of high school and they didn't have money to buy diapers. And so people chipped in and bought them diapers and like taught them baby things and whatnot. Like there's a reason for these traditions. The same for bridal showers. It was that, oh, this is a new couple. And wedding gifts. You bought them silverware because they hoped to buy a house together and get silverware. Not like they were already 30 and living in an apartment and they owned everything they'd ever needed in their life.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently we just need to get over the fact that everyone else likes young girls, especially. We're the weird ones.
We're the weird ones for thinking that this is not cool.
Yeah. This has significantly changed my views. Like in a
I do think that the best time to essentially find your life partner is essentially in your late teens to early 20s. I mean, I found my life partner at the age of, how old was I? Like 17? And we've been together since. So I personally do think that is the best time to put your effort into finding someone that you're going to stick with for life. And my reasoning is, well, school is actually a really, really easy place to find like-minded people who don't have their life in shambles. And also, not only can you find like-minded people in school, you just have a lot more time when you're in school. You have a lot more time as a whole, like free time and time in school to talk to new people, to meet new people, and to dedicate basically like your whole day or your whole week to just getting to know them. So I do think that the best time to really settle down is when you are in your late teens to early 20s. But unfortunately, many people just aren't very mature at that age. So it is very difficult. It is very difficult to find someone who actually wants to settle down and be faithful, right? That's the biggest issue. And it's very difficult once you're older because people have their own life, they have work, they have finances that they're trying to settle. Life just becomes so complicated and so difficult once you start to enter your late 20s and your 30s. And specifically for women, the female fertility window basically starts to shut at 30. So yeah, it's a lot better to have kids basically right out of high school or literally right immediately out of college.
Am I the asshole situation? We, Europeans, are the asshole. We're sorry. This was our mistake. Bring back teen marriage, bring back my big fat gypsy wedding, bring back teen pregnancy. We were wrong. We are prudish, procrastinating Europeans. And also, if you are not of European ancestry, please adjust your childbearing years accordingly, because who knew? I didn't know. I hope everyone else knows this, but I don't think they do. Anyway, I love you, Malcolm.
I love you too. This was a really interesting. What was something I was gonna? about Japan or something. No, we're just all of these other groups. I mean, what's your takeaway on all of this in regards to the way we as a society? I mean, I just think that some groups were never really not designed, but like cultures are different in a way where some may genuinely not be.
Discover a better kind of backyard water experience. One that combines fitness, play, and
be compatible. And this is one of those areas, fascinatingly, that Europeans may have psyops the rest of the world into eradicating themselves.
Oh yeah, I mean, you did an episode once on are some countries just not compatible with democracy? Apparently some countries are just not compatible with later onset marriage, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're onto something there. Are we becoming skeptical of the benefits of colonialism? I don't know.
Well, I mean, we just need to colonize them harder until
until their fertility windows are moved. But we will force them back. It's fine.
Colonize me harder, Daddy.
Yeah, you'll like it. Don't worry.
You'll like it. Day. Come on.
Okay.
I mean, there's been countries that have asked to be colonized in the past.
Yeah, and were there some countries that asked for their colonizing forces to not go?
Yeah. Like the idea that like colonization was this like universal negative is, as you know, it's like, do some people in America not like the U.S. government? Yes, a big chunk. You can get people to protest, but a lot of them like it as well. There's a great quote from an Indian under the early stages of occupation, and they asked him, like, what do you think of occupation? What do you think of having to pay taxes to the British government? And he was like ecstatic about it. He's like, now with the British government, every year a taxpayer comes around once. It used to be every year all of the local warlords sent taxpayers to my house. So basically the idea is that before the British came in, there was a bunch of overlapping regions that might have power, at least the power to force you to give them money, and they'd all send tax collectors to you, at least within this region of India. And he felt so out from under the burden of that, under the British system. We act like everyone was saints before the colonial system came in, but in a lot of these regions, the people were comically cruel compared to what the West did. Again, if we're talking about India here, you can look at the practice of sati, where they would burn a wife alive when her husband died. And there's the famous case of the English general who's working with Indian troops, and they start to build a pyre to burn a woman alive because her husband had died. And he looks at them and he goes, "Don't do that." And they're like, "What? We're your allies. This is our practice." And he goes, "Well, okay, then we have a practice in Britain, and when men burn a woman alive, we hang them. So I'll just set up the gallows right here, and as soon as you're done with this fire, we can hang all of you." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess we won't do this." But the reality is hilarious. That a lot of these places were far more cruel and brutal than is portrayed in the common narrative today. And note here, this isn't just in the words of the quote-unquote colonizers who were recording this. One of like the big moments I remember from childhood is we were reading this book called Things Fall Apart, which was supposed to be about how bad the colonization of Nigeria was. And there's this scene where they take a baby and they leave it to slowly die alone in the woods simply because it was a twin, and they believed twins were evil. And the complaint was that the Europeans wanted to stop this practice.
Yeah, that was actually a very common practice in many places, just leaving babies out in the wilderness to die alone. That happened in various places at various times. And it was a form of child sacrifice, and it was also just a form of dealing with the issue of an unwanted child. It's just like, well, you didn't want this child, just, leave it out there and let nature take its course.
And I remember like looking around in the woods, the room, and being like, wait, so like everyone else here thinks this was a bad thing that we stopped this? The level of horrors of things that we stopped through colonization are almost unspeakable in many of these regions. And I say this as someone with a British background because my own ancestors, before they were colonized from Rome, practiced human sacrifice regularly, practiced the sacrifice of children regularly. They would bury them under bridges to like keep them from collapsing or something. Monstrous stuff. Before colonization, we were all...
That one is also very common, using the unborn or the newly born sacrifices to buildings in order to ensure that they would not collapse. Yep, I've heard that before. You put them under the bridge, or you put them in the bridge, you put them under the house, or you put them in the walls.
Animals.
Well, and I think that's kind of what China was trying to sell with the Belt and Road Initiative. They're like, don't you want to be colonized? Wouldn't you like me to build some infrastructure for you? Let's do this. It's colonizing 2.0 with different branding.
Yeah, it is.
I agree with you. Yeah, I see it. Okay, bye.
Bye. Whoa, I didn't ask you to fill it, but thank you. Octavian, come here. We're gonna say happy birthday.
2% milk.
That's really nice.
Oh, Octavian, that's so
Did you
nice.
spill any? Did you make a mess?
No.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if you saw. Did you see the basically like lore encyclopedia that's super interactive and full of fun like games and cool elements that Leaflet built?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
No.
Did you share it with me?
Yeah, no, I didn't share it with you. I just learned about it. It's at clio.angelsword.com. I'm sending it to you.
Is this the one where she has like the cartridges that you can put in, or are you talking about something else?
There's a combat training game. There's a library with books to go through. You basically get to explore the lore and learn about the RPG, but in a very immersive, interactive, game-like way. Not even game-like, as a game. Like,
so it's. Do you want to hear the crazy? I think it should be ready to go live tomorrow, which I'm absolutely shocked about. But it is a new standalone app that you can download for free on RFAB, and what it does is it. For reasons, like if you ever had a reason to do this, but in terms of the
who knows why
image
I don't know why.
generation and video generation on RFAB, you can open like a collection of images or videos, and then it auto sizes them to the size of the app's screen and puts them in order. So you don't like. You can say like, oh, I want 5 images open on my screen, and it will automatically size them to use maximum screen real estate. The thing that I'm still working on
That
is
sounds
dragging
really.
and dropping.
Yo, shut the fuck up! Wait.
Video generation on RFAB, you can open like a collection of images or videos, and then it auto sizes them to the size of the app's screen and puts them in order. So you don't like. You can say like, oh, I want 5 images open on my screen, and it will automatically size them to use maximum screen real estate. The thing
That's actually perfect for art referencing. Sometimes you have a lot of images you want to use as a reference, whether it be a 3D model that you created, or some inspirational pieces / photographs that you found online, and you unfortunately cannot keep them all on screen without making everything super cluttered and just difficult to look through. So yeah, that sounds incredibly useful for art. Oof. That's looking pretty rough, but we'll keep working on it.
I'm still working on is dragging and dropping one folder of this into another folder of this. So it's even, the UI is even easier, but it also works with clicking on opening images or videos. You can say like, oh, I want 5 images, collection of images or videos, and video generation on, like if you ever had a reason to do this, but in terms of the
I'm actually going to leave the comments on that, but that sounds amazing.
And video generation on RFAB, you can open like a collection of images or videos, and then it auto sizes them to the size of the app's screen. Collection of images or videos. And video generation on RFAB, you can open like a collection of images or videos, and then it auto sizes them to the size of the app's screen and puts them in order. So you don't like. You can say like, oh, I want 5 images open on my screen, and it will automatically size them to use maximum screen real estate. The thing that I'm still working on is dragging and dropping one folder of this into another folder of this. So it's even, the UI is even easier, but it also works with clicking on opening images or videos, and that it will auto open them in a very lightweight screen that's very easy to both resize, but also that like doesn't like it. If you're using like VLC, it like puts the title in front of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't auto loop, and it's very annoying if you're creating AI videos. But no, this is all handled automatically by the system. Basically, this is a totally free app that you can download from the image generation page, or the page that allows you to search every not safe for work database at the same time from that link up there. And if you set it to your default viewer, you can...
If it really is free, I would like to try and use it. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't really use references all that often. I really should. But yeah, I'm just really bad at using references.
You can just drop any additional image into another image, and it will equally space them in relation to each other, as well as some other quality of life features.
England, 1931.
After years of courting, she's finally found the right cousin.
You are a bunch
I don't care.
And then it does other useful things that you might run into with RFAB, like if you're using the not safe for work image search feature, because it allows you to download zips from various websites, you could get like an entire folder full of zips. And now this has a feature that automatically unzips them all and can automatically take them all out of their subfolders if you want them all in the parent folder. Now
It sounds like it's for a very specific type of person.
It's being Chud backs it. Yeah, it's being built right now, but it's getting close. Like it'll be improved because I just started working on it today, but at a base level, it works right now.
Okay. Wow.
But yeah. Well, if you, I mean, it even has like normal safer work uses. Like if you're just doing a lot of like image creation and you want to go through tons of images at once, it's a really intuitive way to do that. That's incredibly lightweight. Now, right now it's only for Windows because I have to send it to Simone if we want to make a Mac version. So if people want a Mac version, you can let me know.
Thanks. I don't know. Macs are more used by women. Women are less likely to want this use.
Well, yeah, I know it's only those are women things.
Yeah, I feel like the overlap between the type of, let's just say it, guy who wants to use this and their like computer use, like they're going to use gaming PCs. They're not going to be idiots who use Macs like me. Sorry, but yes. No, I mean, anyway, it sounds really cool. I will.
Oh, and I hugely improved the not safe for work video generation feature to the point where it's basically well, because the problem that I realized I had as a text to video was not using not safe for work CDance, which is the best if you want to describe a scene. And now it works really well for scene descriptions.
Huh. Interesting.
And you can generate quite long videos, like 15 seconds.
I need to do video generation on this. Okay, well, I'm excited to do that then. For now, I will kick us off. Okay, ready? Yeah, okay. Hello.
What?
Hello.
Oh, okay. That was not an outro. That was them doing first take of the intro. That's funny.
It feels so much better than having one. I'll tell you, it's just like this little herd.
You're gonna be with me, Toasty? Aw, thanks. It's texting me. Aw.
Do you like frogs?
Do I like frogs? Yeah, frogs are super cool.
Yes, so that's why you were going to give me a frog question.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because you like frogs.
Because I like frogs?
Yeah.
We'll give it to you if you eat your food, Toasty.
Yeah, Toasty. Because we want you to grow big and strong, right, buddy?
Your kids are really, really cute. Well, that was that. Apparently, white people always be effing things up, I guess. Let's see, I'm gonna look through some leaflet videos to see if this one's actually really good. We'll see what this is about. No, what the hell? I didn't want the full screen. I'm at the theater mode. Where the hell is the theater? There it is. Eh? There's an audio. Oh my god.
Accepted a plea deal, admitted to taking the life of a Detroit...
The worst reaction to getting 60 years in prison.
This has to be the worst reaction to getting 60 years in prison. Essentially, this guy accepted a plea deal, admitted to taking the life of a Detroit neurosurgeon, and then he used his sentencing hearing to make one of the most absurd statements I've heard in a courtroom in a long time.
I like to say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this room.
What?
I'm not gay as what the prosecutor want me to be.
What?
Not a gang member.
Okay.
Wait, what?
After I heard that and saw the expression of his lawyer, thinking he just blew up his entire plea deal, I just needed to know everything about this case because this truly was the tip of the iceberg.
Making
So the story caught my attention after I stumbled across this court hearing where obviously this guy had already pleaded guilty, but he decided that the most important thing the courtroom needed to know was that he wasn't gay. My guy, this is not what you're on trial for. You're not on trial for being gay. But hey, once I started digging into what he was on trial for and how he even got there, the story, I just had to make a video on it. But don't get me wrong, this whole story is a tragedy, but the stupidity involved is quite entertaining. But unfortunately, the whole story starts off with Dr. Devin Hoover, who was a well-known Detroit neurosurgeon. Let's see where it is.
My guy. Who cares? Shut up. Who are you?
Did you guys know that Canada is south of Detroit? Okay, anyway. So here's this guy who spent years becoming one of the top brains. Canada is south of Detroit? Okay. Did you guys know that
it is.
Canada is south of Detroit? Anyway,
I
so
don't
he was a
know.
guy who spent years becoming one of the top brain surgeons in the city, and he lived in a
So dumb.
massive historic home outside of Detroit in the Boston Edison neighborhood. And he seemed to have his life pretty much figured out. And before anyone asks, yes, Boston Edison is it's a very beautiful area. It's one of those places where you walk through it and you're like, wow, this place is just loaded with money. Apparently Henry Ford used to live there, if that says anything. Regardless, by April 2023, Hoover was 53 years old and he was planning a trip to Indiana to visit his mother, who was dying of cancer, which is why his family immediately knew something was wrong when he didn't show up. And families don't usually call the police just because someone's an hour late, but apparently something was not right. And meanwhile, something strange did happen in Detroit. The day before Hoover was reported missing, police responded to a complaint about a white Range Rover blocking someone's driveway. Now, that's already just an annoying way to spend your afternoon, but then police looked inside the vehicle and noticed what appeared to be blood. So that would naturally elevate something from a parking complaint into a little bit more serious situation. And little did we know that the SUV belonged to Dr. Devon Hoover. So police then went to his house to check on him and nobody answered. They then noticed the back gate was open, which was also unusual, but at that point, they didn't have enough evidence to force their way inside. So they left. Then Hoover's family requested a welfare check, so police returned the next day. And this time, they noticed something they hadn't seen before. There appeared to be blood on the door on the back of the house. But officers then entered the home, and what they found inside would shock Detroit, because they found Dr. Hoover right there. And whoever took his life had apparently gone through a decent amount of effort to try to make sure nobody could find him. Because inside the home, officers eventually discovered Hoover's body wrapped in a carpet and shoved into a third-floor crawl space. And whoever did all of this fired 2 bullets in the back of his head. So obviously, any accident or medical emergency was ruled out right away. And on top of that, his cell phone, wallet, cash, and credit cards were gone. Expensive watches were also missing. And then, of course, almost immediately after, fraudulent transactions started showing up on his accounts, which is, I guess, always one of the dumbest parts of these cases.
Yeah, like,
because,
what the-
you know,
yeah,
committing a crime, that's
who
obviously
thought that
a
would
terrible
be a good idea?
But, you know, committing a and then
Yeah, and then because they can tie that to cameras, right? They can find out like when they purchase the thing, and then there's security. Like we live in the world where there's security cameras everywhere. Like you gotta be like freaking stupid to think this is a good idea.
immediately going shopping with the victim's money, that feels like a whole new level of stupidity. It's almost like robbing a bank but then posting a selfie from inside of the vault. Because you're just leaving the investigators a massive trail of breadcrumbs, hoping they somehow just decide not to follow them. So he went through all of this trouble of like hiding the doctor in a rug in a 3rd floor crawl space to then take his credit card and go on a shopping spree at the mall. Hello? But regardless, at first, police still had a big problem. They know what happened, but they just didn't know exactly who did it, or at least they didn't have enough evidence to prove it. So while the crime itself was awful, the thing that would really mess the whole investigation up is the fact that Dr. Devon Hoover's personal life was very different from what it first appeared. But apparently it didn't take too long for the detectives to keep coming back to the same name, a 34-year-old Detroit man named Desmond Burks. So at this point, if you're imagining some longtime friend, coworker, former patient, or maybe a business partner, no, that's not where the story's going. Because the relationship between Hoover and Burks was something very different. And this is where the story takes a turn that explains why the investigation ended up taking more than a year. Because according to investigators, the two men, they knew each other extremely well. In fact, when detectives started digging through Hoover's phone records, they found roughly 4,000 text messages. So clearly, these people were talking, and prosecutors would later argue that the messages showed the two men had been involved intimately for years, and that Burks would sometimes charge Hoover
Wait,
for,
that's why you said he's not gay?
encounters together. And I guess if you're wondering whether that came to a surprise to people around Hoover, the answer appears to be yes. So one of the reasons investigators said this case took so long was because many witnesses were reluctant to talk about the relationship. Prosecutors described the situation as sensitive and personal, which apparently made getting people to help them a whole lot more difficult. And honestly, I mean, I can kind of see why. Like, imagine being a detective trying to solve it, and every new piece of evidence somehow makes the situation even more complicated and awkward. Because at first it just looked like a robbery that went really bad, and then it looked like a robbery involving someone who actually knew the victim. Then it started looking like a robbery involving someone the victim was romantically involved with. And that's when the digital evidence started piling up. So investigators found phone data that placed Hoover's cell phone at the same area as Burks after the crime. So Surveillance footage then showed someone parking Hoover's Range Rover where it was later discovered. And apparently that person was carrying a backpack and walking with a noticeable limp, which is important because Burks was apparently known to have been recovering from a gunshot wound to his hip around the same time. And the problem for Burks was that this wasn't the only thing investigators were finding. Because when police eventually searched properties connected to him, they recovered expensive watches that belonged to Hoover, including one watch that Hoover had purchased literally the day before his life was taken. So by the summer of 2024, prosecutors believed they had a tight case. I guess the only problem is it had already been over a year.
They had a tight case, but it definitely was not a tight at. That thing was loose.
Since Hoover's life was taken. And during that whole year, something else happened. Something that would land Desmond Burks back into jail long before he was even charged for the crime against Dr. Hoover. And this is just crazy because one would think that, you know, if you're currently being investigated for a crime, the goal would probably be to avoid drawing any additional attention to yourself. But that was apparently not the route that Desmond Burks chose.
Yeah, he is right. Not
Because
smart.
while investigators were still building their case, Burks found himself at the center of an entirely separate case because on April 17, 2024, nearly a year after Dr. Hoover's life was taken, Burks was driving in Detroit when another driver, 67-year-old Rita Saleh, accidentally bumped into the back of his vehicle. Now let's be honest, you know, getting rear-ended, that's annoying. Nobody enjoys it. Most people handle it by exchanging insurance information and then spending 6 months arguing with Progressive or something like that. Who knows? But that is not what happened there. Instead, the two men got out of their vehicles and began arguing. Burks then punched Saleh and left him lying in the street. Saleh then suffered a severe head injury and was taken to the hospital. Then about 3 weeks later, he lost his life. And just like that, Burks found himself facing a homicide charge in a completely different case. And at this point, I mean, they still hadn't even charged him with Dr. Hoover's homicide. So clearly, things aren't looking good for the guy. Regardless, though, they believed that Burks was involved and had spent months gathering evidence, but they were still trying to build a case strong enough to survive trial. And then suddenly, you know, the same guy they're investigating for one homicide is arrested in connection to another one. So by May of 2024, Burks is sitting in jail on a $1 million bond for the whole Saleh case. And a few months later, prosecutors finally made the move. In August of 2024, more than 15 months after Dr. Hoover was found in his home, Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy announced charges against Desmond Burks. According to prosecutors, the investigation had stretched across multiple states, multiple countries, dozens of officers, thousands of messages, and mountains of digital evidence, and more than a year of work. And I guess the Burks would face them to prove it at trial. So for nearly 2 years, that appeared to be the plan. Burks pleaded not guilty. His attorneys challenged the evidence. There were hearings, delays, competency questions, preliminary examinations, and enough court appearances to make everyone involved wonder if this case was actually ever going to get a jury. And at least from the defense perspective, there was at least one argument they kept coming back to. The evidence was largely circumstantial. Now, circumstantial evidence is one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot in true crime cases because people hear it and they think it means weak evidence. So I guess to explain it a little bit, if your fingerprints are on the cookie jar and there's chocolate chips on your face and you're standing over an empty plate, that's all circumstantial evidence. And it's not really looking great for your defense if you're being accused of eating the last cookie. But Burks' attorneys maintained there was no direct evidence showing him actually pulling the trigger here. And eventually, the case was then set for trial. So by January of 2026, jury selection was underway, and the Hoover family was preparing to sit through weeks of testimony. Prosecutors were then preparing to present years' worth of investigative work, but then, at the last possible moment, Burks accepted a plea deal. Just like that. After years of denying everything, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He also pleaded guilty to larceny, using a computer to commit a crime, weapons charges, and admitted responsibility in the separate Rita Saleh case. And the deal allowed him to avoid the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison without parole on the original first-degree charge. So what changed? Did he suddenly have a change of heart? Only Burks knows the answer to that, honestly, but after years of saying that prosecutors had the wrong guy, he was now standing in court admitting guilt, which honestly should have just brought the whole story to conclusion. You know, the family, they could avoid a trial, the court could move on to sentencing, but then the hearing came, and before Burks ever got a chance to speak, the courtroom spent nearly an hour listening to members of Hoover's family describe what the crime had done to them. And honestly, some of those statements were just heartbreaking, because remember, Hoover's family wasn't just dealing with this crime. His mother was also dying of cancer at the exact same time. Several family members talked about how they expected to gather around their mother's bedside together, only to find themselves planning 2 funerals the same week. One for the doctor and one for their mother. And again, family members talked about forgiveness.
Desmond, I forgive you. I will not hold bitterness and hatred in my heart towards you for the evil you have done. My wish for you is that you can know Jesus. He says in the Bible that anyone that commits sin is a slave to sin.
Essentially, they don't want to spend the rest of their lives carrying hatred around with them. So one sibling told Burks they forgave him. Another said seeing Burks'
like I think that the forgiveness thing is like it's totally true that it's not really for them. It's not really for the perpetrator of the thing. It's for yourself, so that you're not constantly like thinking about how much you want to enact revenge, or you don't carry that hatred. It doesn't like kind of sit in it doesn't like keep you weighed down, basically.
They're crying in court changed something in their heart. Now, at one point, they even brought Burks a Bible, which, no matter what your religious beliefs are, it's a pretty incredible thing to do for a person who took the life of your brother. And the entire time all this was happening, people started noticing Burks' behavior. According to courtroom observers, he was smiling, smirking, rolling his eyes, picking at his nails, throwing peace signs, waving, the whole 9 yards.
I like to say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this room.
And those are the two main corrections I want to make in the pre-sentence report as far as information is concerned.
I mean, why would you ever do something like this? It's like, come on, dude. What you did is absolutely disgusting. Why do you keep on having to double down on that? I imagine somewhere in that courtroom, his lawyers were experiencing the legal equivalent of watching your toddler sprint towards a swimming pool. Like, you know what's gonna happen. There's just nothing you can do to stop it. But finally, Burks got his chance to address the court, and somehow things just got even worse because he immediately started talking about himself.
I like to say I'm not a
Bro, I'm not a woman. Why do they keep thinking I'm a woman? I always get makeup ads. I always get old people ads. They think I'm like a 20-year-old woman and a 60-year-old man at the same time. How?
Even worse, because he immediately started talking about himself.
I like to say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this room. I'm not gay as what the prosecutor want me to be.
Yeah, that's a bold opening when you're standing there after pleading guilty to... Clearly, the dude's priorities are completely messed up. I said this earlier, but you're not going to jail for being...
He's like, I may be a murderer, but I am not gay.
A relationship with a man, sir. The prosecution is not going to charge you for that. He knows that, right? But I guess the opinion of the random people sitting in the courtroom means more to him than, I don't know, his life outcome now? Because the prosecutor and the judge are the ones with his life in their hands. Like, do you think he took that last-minute plea deal just so he got the chance?
It reminds me of like, you guys ever seen, hold on.
Chance to tell everyone that he's not gay? It's like, fine, I'll plead guilty to as long as they know that I didn't have sexual relations with that man. Excuse me, what?
It's such a good movie, dude. That's like it's the best Christmas movie. If you haven't seen Bad Santa, it's the best Christmas movie.
Channel, I question people's priorities, and this is one of those ones that just has me lost. Also, my guy, I am so sorry to tell you, 4,000 text messages, that's probably a relationship.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
that's
what kind,
pretty gay.
but it's definitely a close one. Regardless, though, Burks himself described Hoover being kind of like a boyfriend during his police interviews. So, did he just not expect that to be brought up in court? And the entire reason the relationship kept coming up was because it was central to how investigators believed the two men knew each other. Like, nobody was standing outside the courthouse conducting some sort of like weird, I don't know, sexual census. Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, the courtroom wasn't gathered there for some weird special episode of Maury. Like, the issue was that one of the people in this case had their life taken away, and the other dude...
This killer's ego is over 9,000 IQ under room temperature.
had just pleaded guilty to doing it. And somehow, Burks seems convinced that the real injustice here was, I guess, the public not understanding his dating history. Excuse me, what? That's kind of like showing up to the Titanic inquiry and saying, before we begin, I'd just like everyone to know that I wasn't really a big fan of the dinner menu. Sir, let's focus on the boat. But I guess the more he talked, the stranger it got, because after explaining that he wasn't gay, Burks moved on to explaining that he wasn't either. Remember, he didn't lose at trial. He literally pleaded on to explaining that he wasn't either. Remember, he didn't lose at trial. He literally pleaded guilty. So, what is he on about? And again, this is voluntarily with lawyers in court, pleaded guilty to. So his argument essentially became, yes, I pleaded guilty to, but I would like everyone to know that I'm not gay and I'm not a. Okay then. Like, the victim's family had spent a morning talking about grief, forgiveness, faith, and healing. Burks just spent it trying to beat the allegations that at this point weren't even the reason that he was in the courtroom, because again, he already pleaded guilty. And eventually the judge had enough. He delivered the line that basically ended the entire discussion. Quite frankly, you're sir.
All I have to say is, quite frankly, you are a murderer. You pled under oath to that, and that's your sentence. Thank you.
The fact that they just cut out the audio makes my brain fill it in with the weirdest. Oh my dog.
Everyone.
And just like that, the judge sentenced Desmond Burks to 35 to 60 years in prison for taking the life of Dr. Hoover, along with the additional time connecting for the passing of Rita Saleh. Which means the dude who spent years denying responsibility, accepting a plea deal to avoid the possibility of life without parole, and then used his sentencing hearing to argue about everything except the reason he was there, will likely
wish it wasn't
spend
censored.
most
It's, like,
or
kinda
the
hard to
rest of his life
understand.
behind bars. So that was the story of a man who looked at his sentencing and somehow decided the biggest misunderstanding that needed to be corrected wasn't the part, it was the fact that he
Thanks so much, Hex, by the way, for the 100. Pretty sure it is a black prison thing. They don't want to be seen as gay when they get to prison because when they become
Yo, I just toppled over my freaking mic setup. Oh jeez. Oh crap. Oh jeez. All right, let's Oh.
What are you doing? You're pretty?
Oh wait.
Are you recording?
Oh,
Are you recording?
yeah.
Are you recording with somebody?
No?
Who is that?
Who's what?
I can't tell.
A video?
Oh. When are you gonna be done?
Soon.
Can I move the dishes when you're done?
Yeah.
Just want to know.
a prison bitch. I guess that does make
Somehow
sense.
decided the biggest misunderstanding that needed to be corrected wasn't the part, it was the fact that he's not gay. And the craziest part of all this is no one would even be asking that question if he didn't take the life of the doctor. But if you want an even crazier deep dive, this video shows an influencer realizing she's actually going to get life in prison. I'll be linking it here and in the comment section down below. But without further ado, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.
Wait, what was that
Peace.
one about? What? I gotta watch that one next time. Another great one from Atazi, who covers like really weird stories. Like I like Atazi's stories. It kind of scratches that true crime itch, but it's like a little bit. The stories are a little bit more retarded, not in like a bad way, but they're like. It involves like much like idiot people, you know, very, very idiot people.
So put them in the box. Let the walls be cold and white.
Thank you for choosing Chapman Dodge. This is Goldberg. You get a free jackhammer for each Dodge you buy.
You can't do that.
What?
Can't do this.
Why not? We're trying to sell cars.
I know, but
No. Oh man. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh my dog, it's not okay. I think maybe just one more video and then I'll have to end it there. And I just realized I spent the entire freaking video, the entire stream, painting Freerun. And I never really got into why I started the stream in the first place. Oh crap. How long have we been going for? Let's see. I've been live for... Oh, an hour and 50 minutes. Alright. So let's do like 10-15 more minutes. What do we got? What do we got? You know what? Let's find out what's going on here.
You know, I once drank a shot glass.
A critical drinker, and this might be good. We'll see.
full of chili sauce for a bet on a night out, and the resulting explosive ejection of liquid fire from my body the next morning was enough to have me praying to the gods of chaos themselves, anything to release me from the torment. But you know what? That was still more fun than watching Supergirl, partly because I won the bet, so at least I made some money out of it, but mostly because at least it was over quickly. Supergirl, on the other hand, stretched out into almost 2 hours of abject misery and boredom, and by golly do you feel it. I was gonna say you feel it by the end, but who am I kidding? I was feeling it after like 20 minutes.
I hate this. It is revolting.
Is it really that bad? Is everything we all feared it would be.
Holy
and
shit.
more. So much more. A cringy, cliched, tedious mess of dull, lifeless action scenes that we've seen a million times before.
Is that the same thing Superman
that
did?
Fucking face, man.
Oh my god. Jesus.
One-dimensional characters with nothing even resembling arcs. The kind of safe, edgy humor that's become the hallmark of these factory-produced superhero flicks. All the usual played-out James Gunnisms that ran their course like half a decade ago. Cinematography that looks like someone smeared the results of my chili sauce shot all over the camera lens. And a protagonist who's about as likeable and empathetic as a British politician. In short, Supergirl is a fucking disaster. The wrong movie at the wrong time, based on the wrong source material, made by the wrong people and starring the wrong actress. But we'll talk...
So it just sucks.
Yo.
Okay, he just hates it.
More about that later.
Oh my god.
Believe that. Anyway, fuck it, let's just do the plot. So a series of flashbacks explain how Kara's father separated a chunk of Krypton called Argo City from the rest of the planet when it got destroyed. But oh no, it also released kryptonite, or something, and everyone's slowly dying of radiation poisoning, so her parents send her and her dog Krypto off to Earth to meet up with Clark. But she's like, nah, I'm too cool for you, and spends most of her time dicking around on planets with red suns so that she can get drunk and party, and look like the kind of girl you'd find passed out in a pool of her own vomit round the back of a nightclub on a Sunday.
What? What is going on?
Jesus, man. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
Morning.
Oh my god.
Wow, what an inspirational character. Can't wait to see more of this. So we pick up with Kara celebrating her 23rd birthday by, you guessed it, getting drunk and partying.
Wow.
That's when she meets up with Ruthie, who's out to kill some dickhead named Krem in revenge for murdering her family. But Kara's like, nah, it'll be fine. But it turns out it won't be fine when Krem himself shows up and steals Kara's ship and shoots Krypto with a poison dart that'll kill him in 3 days if he doesn't get an antidote.
It's so highly specific.
Oh my god. Is this real? Like, there's no way, right?
Wow, that was lucky, wasn't it? Lucky the antagonist of the movie just happens to show up right after he's been mentioned. Lucky that he shoots Krypto with a slow-acting poison instead of just vaporizing him or something.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just kill the dog or take the dog with you? Or I mean, why...
Lucky this all creates the perfect setup for our reluctant hero to join forces with young, strong female character.
Right. Oh my god.
Anyway, so off they go to track down Krem and his gang of Mad Max rejects, and then Lobo shows up for like 5 minutes to give Jason Momoa something to do. Then they accidentally get an innocent family killed, and Kara gets sick from the green sun on this planet, but then she gets better, and there's a big fight where she stops Ruthie from killing Krem because revenge is bad or something, but then she kills him anyway because she's not your typical superhero, and then she saves Krypto and goes back to Earth because she's decided it's finally worth her attention.
This idea of continuous reinvention, I think, is really important.
Oh,
it doesn't end.
It does
right?
not end. I just stained my table. It just doesn't end with these ads.
Welcome to Reinvented with Accenture.
Really? It's an unskippable ad. I don't even drink. Why are you advertising me alcohol? Bro.
Really? Real? Oh my god.
Yeah, I honestly forgot what the hell just happened.
him anyway because she's not your typical superhero, and then she saves Krypto and goes back to Earth because she's decided it's finally worth her attention.
Oh, right.
Really? Real? Oh my God! This is this is what they say whenever they're talking about Goy Slop.
And that's it. That's the plot for Supergirl.
It's all bullshit. All of it.
Now, I'd be lying if I said I went into this movie expecting great things from it, but
Nobody
I've got to admit,
was.
I was surprised. And the thing that surprised me most was how fucking shit the writing was.
Yeah?
I mean, the
Is that really
dialogue is
surprising?
exactly what you'd expect from something like this. The usual mix of trite one-liners, desperate attempts at edginess, the kind of cringe meta-humor that can only come from millennial Hollywood writers, and of course those...
I'm so glad that he's calling it out too. Millennial Hollywood writers.
wacky Marvel quips. That's all par for the course in 2026, but it's the story that really lets this movie down. The plot is nothing but a series of and then coincidences, all strung together with the most flimsy justifications. The characters themselves are just along for the ride. Major events take place and people show up for no other reason than to make the rest of the plot happen. Kara gets sick and weak when she's exposed to a green sun in the second act low point, but then she just gets better when a yellow sun helpfully comes out. There's no particular trial she has to go through, no lessons learned, no difficult...
Do you remember what I said before about this is the reason why they're unable to write good female characters? Is because they're unable to give female characters any sort of genuine observable flaws because they don't want to portray women as being problematic or weak or bad. So this is what happens is that you have all of these different, movies where they're unable to make a compelling or an interesting female character because they don't want to make the female character problematic or weak or anything like that. There's no hero's journey.
Choices to make.
There's no
the plot
character
says that
arc.
it's time for
There's
the big
nothing.
final battle, so it happens. Lobo shows up out of nowhere for like 5 minutes because he looks cool and the script needed some fan service and everyone
Yeah.
likes Jason Momoa. And he does exactly what he always does, plays Jason Momoa. Honestly
Let's
though, you
go.
could cut him right out of this movie and everything would play out exactly the same. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that the bulk of his scenes were added in post-production. Krem
So
is
they just had him go in there and just do a few dumb things and are like, oh, guys will like this. Maybe it'll get guys to actually watch this movie then. Zombieland is a good example of what they need to do. Well, yeah, and I think that generally, like, what happens is that these movies, like, I have to say it, is that superhero movies post Endgame are goy slop. They absolutely are goy slop. Like, some of the original ones were really good, but now they are just garbage. They're all so bad. Cape shit, they are.
It's just a generic bad guy who does bad stuff because, fuck it, who even cares? He's just
Nobody
there to give
gives
the
a
rest
shit.
of the characters something to do. There's no real substance to him, no big overarching plan or hidden justification for what he's doing. He's just a space pirate crossed with Mad Max. His death means nothing because his life meant nothing either. Jesus, who wrote this shit? Oh yeah, Anna Noguera, a former TV actress whose writing credits amount to... fuck all. I mean, literally, the only thing I could find about her was We Win.
Wait, so she wrote Supergirl and she only had one other thing that she had wrote previously and it was in 2018? Is this real?
A micro-budget short film from 8 years ago about a couple's relationship that unravels during a game of Mafia.
Son of a bitch!
What?
Oh yeah, that totally justifies putting her in charge of a $200 million superhero blockbuster. You're seriously telling me you couldn't find anyone better qualified for this job than a failed actress who aged out of the industry with precisely one screenwriting credit to her name?
Oof.
Fuck off, James Gunn. Honestly, I'm
Why would you do that?
surprised you didn't cast your own wife in this just so you could watch her get railed by Lobo. Then there's Kara...
This story was based on a comic book? Well, yeah, but you have to be able to adapt it in a way that makes sense, right? I feel like that's kind of how you're supposed to do things.
herself, who's apparently based on the not particularly popular Tom King run of comic books, which helpfully ignore half a century of character development to paint Kara as a cringy punk rock anti-hero.
I hate this.
I mean, I
Supergirl
can't say
was
I'm
supposed to be an
surprised, to be
anti-hero?
honest.
What?
That little cameo she got at the end of Superman already told us what kind of an annoying arsehole she was gonna
Yeah.
be.
Thanks for watching him, bitch!
What the fuck? Is that actually what happened? I wasn't like it.
So she was gonna
Yeah.
be.
Thanks for watching him, bitch!
What
I
the
hate
hell?
so much about the things that you choose to be.
Not since.
And that is so accurate, because really the reason why I think people dislike this so much is that we all probably know at least one Foyd in our lives that thinks that she's the main character and that her life is a movie and that behaves this way in real life, and it's so insufferable and annoying, and now you have to watch it in a movie. I don't like it. I don't think a lot of people do.
The Marvels have I liked a main character less than this
Try
one.
10?
There's this weird
Yeah.
feeling of mild
10,
desperation
bro.
throughout the whole movie, where they're trying so hard not to make her a Mary Sue that she just comes across as an annoying bitch who doesn't care about anything or anyone but herself. You know the
Oh, I guess it must have been a self-insert.
kind of girl who flips the bird with a mildly pissed off expression in every single picture she ever takes because she really needs you to know how much cooler she is than you. Well, that's basically Kara in this movie. It's horseshoe theory projected onto characterization, where going far enough away from something ends up looping you right back to where you started. An insufferable arsehole. They're trying so hard to paint her as this jaded, cynical, world-weary pragmatist who's tried and failed to be a hero and just wants to be left alone now, but it doesn't fucking work because she's like 23 years old. This is the
Yeah, you can't do that for a young female character because obviously they're not going to have the same experience as somebody. Like, the reason why that works for a Jason Statham movie is because Jason Statham is like 50 years old. So, like, it makes sense that, you know, or like John Wick, you know, he's like 50 years old. So it makes sense that that's what's happening. But, like, you can't go and do this for, you know, some random young girl. It's another goy flop.
the kind of thing you do with a 50-year-old man, not some young girl who's just
How about that?
Starting out. Like,
How
the
about
fuck can you
that?
have a life of regrets when you've barely even lived a life to begin with? If they had to do some kind of anti-hero arc with her, they should have made her this rebellious, energetic, loose cannon who acts first and thinks later, convinced that she can help everyone, only to discover real life is more complicated than just...
They're not going to do that. They would never do that because it would make her look stupid and it could overlap with existing female negative stereotypes.
Yeah.
So they would never do that. And that's the problem with a lot of this media, is that the media is written inside of the context of existing stereotypes and cultural norms. So, like, they're never going to make a woman look weak or stupid,
incompetent,
or anything like that. Anything that could make it look like a woman is inferior to a man.
Yeah, because then
A
that
lot
would
of
be
stereotypes exist for
problematic.
a reason. Yeah, of course they do.
punching the bad guy.
True.
You have to show us the fall so that we can cheer for the rise. Ultimately, for all the hype and controversy swirling around it, Supergirl is nothing but a depressingly bleak, horrible-looking, uninspired, generic superhero movie whose only USP turns out to be its biggest weakness. Yes, young women really can be messy, self-absorbed failures, but here's
young women can be messy, self-absorbed failures? I need a movie to tell me that? That's crazy.
Why do we even need that?
Really get. They probably
Why do we need that? Like, who does it help? Who does it inspire?
shouldn't. It's a movie that no one seems particularly excited for, pushing a character no one cares about in a cinematic universe that's barely started but already seems to be in its death throes. And well, Supergirl is nothing but another nail in the coffin.
Man.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I'll tell you this, that this is a good video. Make sure to give it a like. This is, I watch Critical Drinker videos all the time. I think they're really, really good. And I feel like in general, like, it's so obnoxious and annoying. It's the same fem slop that we got with Captain Marvel. It is. And it's always the same. You're always going to get the same annoying, fucking repetitive garbage. And I don't think they're ever going to make a good character like this that's good. Like Brett said, Snow White 2.0. This isn't like Snow White because nobody cares about Supergirl to begin with. A lot of people care about Snow White because it was a really popular, like animated film. But Supergirl, it's just like random, and who cares what's going on with any of this, right? It doesn't matter. And what is this? And once you notice this, you want to go back in any movie. Disclosure Day does this too. Yeah, first Disney princess. It's like a big thing. But like Supergirl is always just like, what if Superman was a girl, right? Superman, Supergirl. Wow, that's amazing. Like She-Hulk. Like they're not even, in a lot of these cases, like I know that the characters were like developed more later on, but like they're not even really their own character. They're basically just like, what if the male character was a girl? And I don't think anybody gives a shit about that. Like, it doesn't even matter. Check White House Twitter. Or do you want me to look at, again, you want me to see the fucking, where was it? Them making some post about, I don't even know what this is. Some post about, Destiny. I already saw that before. People did this to the Tom King comic. This killed their comic franchise. Maybe they will if she's hot, which historically she was depicted as super hot. Yeah, I mean, I think that again, I feel like the actress. I mean, she's attractive, but I would say like Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman for the first movie. I mean, she was really, really hot, and so that's the way I see it.
The Canada-Russia final showcasing the two most talked about prospects in the world.
We will be seeing each other a lot. You're not gonna.
Ew, what was that sound? Okay. I should be going soon. But I kind of want to finish up. Just a second. Another quick one. What do we got? Oh, I kind of want to watch this one, but I need to have some time to actually take it all in. Woke Skyrim is one of my favorite games. Okay, you know what? I guess we're gonna watch this one. Which one was it? It's a 20-minute video somewhere in here. 26.
So yesterday, this is what happened, is that Bungie had really, really, really big layoffs, right? And so because they had such big layoffs, everybody was talking about this. It got 8.4 million views, and even my post got 800,000 views, right? And so there's a lot of people that were triggered about it. They were upset. So you see, this is one guy right here. One Peg. I guess I don't know who this person is. I have no idea. I guess we'll find out, right? Some of the most talented artists, animators, writers, and coders on the planet. Quote, we just lost our jobs. Nearly talentless, that guy who got lucky enough in content creation to quote make it. Welcome home. Why are you mad at me? Why are you getting mad at me? I didn't fire them. I'm not the one that did this. What are you getting personal to me about? Like, I don't give a shit. Like, say whatever you want. Chirp off, sound off, talk yo shit, King. Say whatever you want to say about me. That's fine. But it's not going to get their jobs back. It's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to make you feel better about yourself. Nearly talentless. Well, so anyway, let's look at who this person is, right? So this is him talking, right? Let me see who this is.
So I was all ready to go to bed. I have taken my melatonin gummy. I took my evening...
Oh, you're such an old man. No wonder nobody's going to watch this. Like, they want to hear an old man. What are you going to talk about how bad your back hurts next? Oh my God. Who is this guy? He's got to be over 30 years old. What's wrong with him?
Famotidine, because I have acid reflux, like what they call...
Oh my God. So you start off your Destiny 2 video trauma dumping about how many disorders you have?
Silent reflux that messes up my vocal cords if I don't take it each night.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you.
And as I do, I tend to troll around on Twitter and whatnot. And right before I'm getting ready to shut my phone down, I notice that there is a tweet from a guy that apparently is known as a leaker.
So what is this here?
Bungie is
Smash
apparently
for it?
laying off 50% of its workforce, which has no corroboration whatsoever.
Well, it has no corroboration. What do you mean it has no corroboration? Are you retarded? Are you actually retarded? The games are failing. Like, what do you think that they're gonna do? You think they're not gonna fire anybody? Like, if you made a video game for 5 years and it has 10,000 players and you have a live service dedicated team of 100 people plus making it, and it's not doing well, what are you doing, man? What do you think is gonna happen? What about all the employees? Exactly. I mean, like, you gotta be delusional. So anyway, all this happens and everything else. This is a guy. So you're upset about me saying this, and you're making personal insults to me. This is one of my favorite things to see happen, is when people like this love to chirp. They love chirping, but they hate it whenever anybody responds. All right, this one got far enough outside the sphere to where everyone has voiced their opinion and on my totally sick burn. Jesus, bro, like...
I took my evening famotidine because I have acid reflux, like what they call silent reflux, that messes up my vocal cords if I don't take it each night.
Jesus, bro, like, Jesus, this guy, you're so old. You're actually so old. Holy shit, man. What is this? I mean, like, really? I mean, Jesus, guys, like, what are we even talking about? So, anyway, you take Tums too, don't lie. I don't even know what, actually, I do know what Tums are, but no, I don't take them. And so, anyway, we're gonna lock this down. We are gonna lock this down, and everyone can go.
Because you're old doesn't mean you need to take acid reflux medication. Just stop eating trash, bro. Like, that's what gives you acid reflux. You eat trash. That makes the acid in your stomach react and bubble up to your esophagus? I don't know. I'm not some kind of biologist. I'm not some kind of freaking doctor professional. Basically, you eat bad food. It makes the acid in your stomach flare up, bubble up. Next thing you know, it's traveling all the way up through your stomach and up to the little pipe that leads from your throat to your stomach, and that's when it feels bad.
Go back to caring about whatever the next rage bait is, having a wonderful weekend. So apparently, he had to turn off replies to his tweet because everybody was being so mean to him. So this is what I think is funny. Apparently turning off comments has made many people angry. I'm so sorry, fans of Asmon. I'm sure you'll react to this in a perfectly healthy way and would never encroach on being what some would consider weird as fuck or anything. Well, the thing is that I think we're gonna be weird as fuck. I think we're gonna be weird as fuck because you act like somebody that peaked in high school. You talk and you act like somebody that did that. Like, you call other people weird, and maybe in like 10th grade it made somebody feel insecure. No, it doesn't really matter to me. Say whatever you want, right? And yeah, again, I'm an old man too. So yeah, let's get really weird. So you have a person here who's been sitting around talking all this shit about me, but the moment that they get any sort of a pushback, they turn off their comments. I want to let you know that I'm going to be keeping track of you. I'm going to be keeping track of you, and every once in a while, I'm going to bring something up, and I'm going to make...
Shut up, Asmon. Finally got those ears looking right. All right. Yep, that's much closer to what I had originally done with Asuka. I've got to get better at positioning things for the camera. I really am not that great. I think that's looking pretty solid. I want to do blush, but I don't want to go overboard and end up spending another freaking hour on this. So I'm gonna do something subtle. I mean, it's Rey. I think she would be a little bit more pale, not quite as blushy. So we're gonna do some subtle blush and a little bit of color on the lips, and that's it. No, nothing more.
But the moment that they get any sort of a pushback, they turn off their comments. I want to let you know that I'm going to be keeping track of you. I'm going to be keeping track of you, and every once in a while, I'm going to bring something up, and I'm going to make content out of you. And I want you to know that every time that a lot of people come in and they're mean to you or something like that happens, I want you to know that it was probably because of me. And you know what? I want to, you're welcome. You know, like, can I at least get a thank you, right? Or something? I mean, I'm trying to help these people understand. I'm very vindictive. I am. And this is a guy you have. Let me pull up your Twitch channel. Is it just one peg? It is. It's one peg. Let's go back and we're going to pull this up. Twitch tracker, one peg. Who is this guy?
That's literally his name. One peg. The hell kind of name is that?
And so,
like, it sounds like I'm making fun of him or something, but like, seriously, what is that name? One peg? Why one peg?
Oh, you have average viewers 63. You have 63 average viewers, and in the last 7 days, you've managed to lose 8 followers. So here's what you need to do, okay? I'm gonna give you some advice, all right? Because obviously you're just a boring millennial that nobody cares about. You need to quit streaming. You need to do that. You can't really make a comfortable living with 60 viewers. It's never going to go up. It's not going to get, it's not like you're...
Unfortunately, some people do need to hear that. Yeah. Not everyone is cut out for streaming. Not everyone is cut out for content creation. Not everyone is cut out for being an e-celeb or influencer. And either you do it for the love of the game, just keep going, right? Because you think it's a fun hobby, or you give up and you move on to something else. I'm doing this because it's a fun hobby. It makes me sit down and actually, you know, work on something, and not procrastinate. But I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if I could get at least one viewer, that'd be amazing. But yeah, it's mostly just a hobby for me. Oh, come on. I accidentally pressed the back button. What kind of garbage? Did we get back to it? Yes. Stop advertising me alcohol. I don't drink.
So here's what you need to do, okay? I'm going to give you some advice, all right? Because obviously you're just a boring millennial that nobody cares about. You need to quit streaming. You need to do that. You can't really make a comfortable living with 60 viewers. It's never going to go up. It's not going to get, it's not like your career is ever going to take off, right? I mean, you've been doing this now for how many years? Like, let me scroll down. You've been doing it now for 7 years. I mean, you're a loser, right? I mean, you're a total loser. And so, like, really, the sooner that you realize that you're a loser and that it obviously just, let's say that I got lucky and you didn't. Well, that's just what happens, right? I mean, at a certain point, you got to stop playing the lottery. Because really, I mean, this is, you're not going anywhere with this. It's not like whenever, you want to be 55 and doing this as well, still getting...
I mean, it is what it is, right? Yeah. Some people do get lucky, some people don't. And if you think you're the next one to get lucky, you've got to stop gambling at some point. But, you know, that being said, it can still just be a hobby.
60 viewers making the same amount of money that you're making now, and you're not accomplishing or doing anything of noteworthiness, and people still hate you, and you're still a nobody. You've been doing this. Look at your YouTube channel, right? Like, if I look at your oldest videos, you've been making videos for 8 years. Oof. If the sum total of all of your work and effort over 8 years is 100,000 subscribers and a 60 viewer average, you have failed as a creator. And at a certain point, you should understand that, and you should have the self-respect to do something else that maybe...
Yeah, that's insane. 8 years straight. I hope he took many breaks in between, because that is brutal. That's insane. 8 years straight, and all you've got is 60 viewers on a stream. And I've never heard of this guy. One peg? Like, yeah, that's really bad.
Maybe you're really good at welding. Maybe you'd be a better plumber. maybe you would be better at, I don't know, like you could be like an AI agent assistant for a company, right? You could be a secretary or something like that. But the one thing that we see that you really can't be is a content creator. You've tried to do that for 8 years and you've failed. Now, you've had instances where you've done relatively well, right? And I think that's respectable. That's good. But those instances are few and far between, about like maybe once every 2 years. So the reality is that you're in a situation where you're aging, you're already having medical problems. Is Twitch going to give you any health insurance for your acid reflux?
No.
Is Twitch going to give you money to pay for your melatonin? No, they're not. It's time for you to quit streaming, and it's time for you to go out and get a real job. Because very clearly, you can't handle having a fake one. And you can talk all the shit you want about me, and you can say anything that you want about me, and maybe you're right about all of it. But the truth is that I'm also right about everything that I'm saying about you, and you know it. And one day, you'll wake up and you'll realize that you've wasted 8 years of your life that you could have spent building an entire career. Isn't that sad? It's really sad to see somebody do that to themselves, isn't it? I mean, like, really, I mean, like, his, you know, like, this guy, I mean, I don't know how old this guy is, right? I mean, I have no idea, but he's probably in his 30s, right, at least. And so, like, you've done all of this, and this is the sum total of all of your work and effort and time. How many hours have you streamed? Let me look and see. Total hours watched, games streamed, followers. Where does it say how many hours a person streamed? Oh, there we go. You've spent over 10. So this is a great example, right? And so 10,000 hours. Now, 10,000 hours, this is a number that manifests all the time.
10,000 hours streamed? Is that what it's saying? I don't have time to read through this freaking crap. Hours watched, duration, followers, overall activity. Yo, I can't. I really can't. There it is. There's. Nope, I still don't know. Yeah, okay, 6,000. I see what he means. 6,000 hours streaming Tarkov and Dark and Darker? 3,000 hours. Yo, that's insane.
You all know about 10,000 hours. So a lot of people say that in order to become an expert at something, in order to become truly proficient and great at something, it takes 10,000 hours. For you, it's taken you 10,000 hours to become a failure. You've invested 10,000 hours into being garbage. You have nothing to show for it. You have accomplished nothing. You've done nothing. And you're getting mad at me because I recognize that there are other people at companies that are just like you. They're losers. They're failures. And they can't do anything till make people watch. That's the fact. You spent 10,000 hours. You could have developed any other kind of skill, but instead you've developed a Twitch channel with 60. Sorry, I was going to say 600. Excuse me, 60 average viewers. It's really sad to see that happen. You lose followers. Your entire 1 month change is that you've lost followers. You've lost 125 followers in 6 months. Or sorry, 3 months. So really, I mean, I've got to ask this guy, right? I mean, what are you doing with your life? What's the end goal? Like, where do you see yourself in 15 years? Are you happy with that? I wouldn't be. Like, if this is me, I'd be putting in applications to, you know what? Maybe I should be sending this meme to you. I wonder, okay, so let me think about it like this, right? So you're 8 years. So it's 8 years. No, we're not done yet. 8 years that you've spent being a content creator, and you've accomplished relatively nothing. If you started at McDonald's 8 years ago and you worked your way up the corporate ladder, you could have gone to Hamburger College. You could have been
literally.
franchise manager at this point. You know, like if you understand Tarkov, you understand resource allocation, you get these things. You're probably not a completely stupid person,
Jeez.
but you've just decided to invest your life into something that you're a failure at. You need to understand, you have to know when to hold them and you have to know when to fold them. And I think your time when to fold them was about 7 years ago, but you just haven't realized it yet. That's okay. You will soon. I don't know. I think is there anything else I have to say? Like, I feel like that's pretty much. I feel like I said pretty much the way I feel about it. Yeah, I mean, that's. I don't know. It's tough love. No, I'm trying to help the guy out. I'm trying to help him out. Like, this is genuine advice. Like, this is one thing. Keep in mind. I don't give a shit about what you're saying. It doesn't matter. You're like an NPC to me. All I want to talk about is the fact that this is the kind of person that's complaining about me. This is it. This is the way it goes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people get caught up in the more, what would you call it, problematic aspects of Asmon's life, and they just immediately assume that he's some kind of loser who is basically like poor and irrelevant, or at least they speak of him in that manner. But the reality is very, very, very different. He is, unfortunately for them, a very successful, very well put together individual who, yes, has had a very difficult life and has not fully gotten through it. But it seems like, unfortunately, or fortunately for him, that doesn't really seem to what would you weigh him down. I hate that the camera does not capture the color as well as I would like. In person, the blush and the color is way more vibrant. But when I show it on camera, you can barely see the blush. Maybe if I can change the color of my light. Nope. Sad. Sad life. In certain angles, you can kind of see it better. But yeah, it's the best we're going to be able to get. So I'm going to start wrapping up. I'm going to finish this Asmon video, which is not even anywhere near close to finishing. Gosh dang, I already paused it so many times. You know what? I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. I got to go clean some dishes. I got to go run some errands. Ain't nobody got time for this. I've been on now for... All right, let's take a quick guess. About 2 hours and 5 minutes. Let's see. We are exactly at... Why am I so bad at reading? 2 hours and 30 minutes. My prediction was way off. I'm gonna clean my materials a little bit. This is the cap for my alcohol spray bottle. All right, so recap. Gave Ray and Asuka some blush. Now they look a little bit more lively, even though you can barely see it. I'm glad that you can at least see the pink in Ray's lips easier. That's a good thing. But in reality, they're so blushy and you can't see it on camera. It's so freaking sad. And we also customized this Frieren noodle stopper. Now her ears have a little bit more dimension and a little bit more pink blushiness. Her face is also blushy, but I mean, can't really see it. And on top of that, we've also added some of that blush tone into her fingers. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Where in the frick is the zoom on my camera? Got it. Pretty happy with progress I made. Next time, I'm gonna be adding some more details to the bodies of these figures. Because as you can see, normally the would you call these panel lines? I mean, they aren't Gunpla, but the detail lines on these are not painted at all. They're just completely white. So they're very difficult to see on camera, and they just don't look all that great in person. So I'm going to be adding some black panel liner, and I'm going to do it as subtly as possible so that they aren't just black streaks running through the model. Last but not least, before I go, I did want to show this thing. I got both cockpits for Rey and Asuka. Jeez. I don't have enough space. Good enough. Good. That's good enough. Let's not push it. Let's not create a giant mess and break everything. Oof. You know what? You get the hell out of here. You get out of here. We don't need you anymore. So this is the cockpit. I really liked this. I wish that it had a little bit more detail. Especially in the seat. The seat looks like really plain and plastic. I'm wondering if maybe there's something that I can do to make it look more cushioned. But the metal texture is great. I really like the metal texture. I really like the colors on it and the sculpt as a whole. I'm considering adding some color to the panels and lining them, but the metal reflectiveness kind of already gives me some contrast. So I'm not really sure if I should add a panel lining. It might be too stark, too crazy. Now, if I were smarter and more clever, I would probably add lights or something. The one thing that I really want or wish I could do is replace this. This is so crap. The little disc that goes in the back, it's just a plastic toy, basically. And it was part of the gimmick that it spins, which, I mean, it's great that it spins, but it's just a plastic wheel. And, you know, any Ava fan would know that it's not supposed to be a wheel. It's supposed to be a laser disc. But even if I had the know-how of how to take this apart and put in a laser disc here, i.e., you know, a CD, I don't think I'd be able to find something this size. I mean, this is a bottle cap to a water bottle. I don't think they make laser discs this tiny. I mean, not even the GameCube discs were this small. So, yeah, that's a project for another decade or something. Or just somebody who knows more than me. So now that's going back in the case. And I'll be getting ready to go. What happens if I tilt this? Oh crap, it actually sorted itself out. In any case, I'll keep it this way. This is my updated Ava case. Remember they said that Good Smile Parfum never released a Shinji. And that is all, folks.